CrossFit describes itself as constantly varied, functional movements performed at high intensity. But what if we use all the tools, training advice, practices, and the methodology of CrossFit, but took away just one element? What if, instead of becoming constantly varied, we went all in on one particular movement? Ben Bergeron, head of CompTrain, says that when his top athletes have a weakness, they work on it relentlessly. They will perform said weakness 3 times a week. And if it's a bleeding weakness that could potentially derail their CrossFit season, they will hyper-focus this said weakness every day for 30 days straight. Applying this mindset, using their techniques, and finding the best approaches to achieve these goals, I'm going to teach you at home how to crush your goals, see improvement, and fill those holes. This challenge is called Ground Zero. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. With my heart and high for drive, we do what we want, but when I'm free, with our hearts on hyperdrive. What's going on, beasts, and welcome to episode 6 of our Ground Zero series. Episode 6 is, I believe, session 12? Session 12? Session 11? 11 and 12. Sorry, 11 and 12. Today's session is going to be our heavy bench, shoulder press, and accessory session. And we're starting off with 3 sets of 4 repetitions, jumping straight into it at 85%. For me, this is 120 kilos. If you remember back to last episode, episode 5, I discussed how easy it was for me personally to move 120 kilos, which is 85% of my 1RM, and just how far I've come since starting this series and starting my bench press progression towards that 150 kilos. This is no different. Today, more reps, 3 sets of 4, and as you can probably agree, like, I'm moving this pretty well. So this is just a bit of a proud me moment. Thank you, me. Always like to stroke my own ego. But the point of this video today, we're talking about purpose, discussing obviously training strategies, and to improve ourselves, we must apply these strategies and using any tools available to help keep us motivated, keep us on track, on the path to success. One of these ways of doing this is by employing a training partner, someone with a similar goal, similar mindset, and potentially even a similar outlook / personality to what you have. And I guess in what I'm trying to say is, by having these training partners, it gives you the ability to push yourself further, go to places that you probably wouldn't normally, and give you the ability to really focus on yourself, but also take away a bit of that mental stress that you will put on yourself if you don't succeed some days. Having a training partner gives you ability to offload some of the training struggles that you're having, because some people can relate. It's always fun to have, be like, oh shit, today didn't get a very good sleep, so I'm probably not going to have as much effort as I normally would. And your mate will be like, yeah man, I was there last week, remember we did that bench session, I was failing reps, and he's like, yeah, we all have those hard days. So that relatability from someone else, that human connection, allows us to go to places that we probably never were able to. I don't know if you've ever experienced this personally, but for me, some workouts, you're in that dark place, and having someone else suffering with you can always be advantageous towards improving. Just then on the screen, you saw me hitting strict press 10 rep max at 60 kilos. Mitch is matching me on that same weight, and my final rep of that was what I'm trying to discuss right now. Is the training with friends gives you that ability to push to those places that you normally wouldn't. I didn't think I had 60 kilos in me for 10. Yeah, last week I got 55 for 12. I felt really good last week, but remember, if we dial ourselves back to last week's video, I did the strict press first rather than after the bench press. So not only did I do the bench press first, I performed the strict press second under a bit of fatigue, and I was still able to achieve the extra 5 kilos on that weight. From there, the program calls for 2 sets of 6 to 8 at the same weight that we achieved, which was the 60 kilos. And Mitch and I grinded through this one pretty heavily. I was only going to the bare minimum range of 6s. As you can see, the struggle is real. Mitch, I believe, hit 8 reps on his first set, and then on his second set, he wasn't as successful. I believe he only got 5, and he failed his 6th rep twice. Whether that's ego, a bit of training competition, or just a bit of a laugh, it really doesn't matter. It's just one of those things that having a training friend, training partner, someone with very similar goals to yourself, gives you that, you wouldn't normally get alone. A lot of these top CrossFit athletes, top powerlifters, Olympic weightlifters generally do a lot of things by themselves, and it's a very lonely world. And even though we want to take as much training advice as we possibly can from the professionals, we've also got to be realistic with ourselves. Like, are we elite athletes? Am I getting paid to train? If the answer is no, well then inviting someone else, potentially delaying your time length of your session by 30 minutes to an hour, but having more fun will just give you way more motivation and willpower in the long run when it does get to those times where you have your own session and you may not be feeling 100%. One of the best things I ever learned about willpower and motivation is you only have a finite amount of both. So motivation is generally what you use as your why. So I've got a why. My why is 150 kilo bench press. So on those really tough days where bad sleep, hard day at work, not feeling 100%, maybe you haven't eaten before your session, you use your motivation to be like, why am I doing this? Because I want to improve, because I want that 150 kilo bench press. Then those really, really tough days, you use an inherent amount of willpower, which is that ability to push through when you don't have the motivation. And both of them are finite. So having a training partner can add that third layer of security. So even if you are at your worst and lowest point, you'll still end up going to the gym, whether they're in person or in theory, knowing that Mitch has had a really tough day and he still gets to the gym at 4 a.m. in the morning gives me that same motivation to do what he does. Finally, finishing off this session today with our 3 accessories, we've got banded face pulls as shown on screen, 3 sets of 15, and before you would have seen us do our external rotations, 2 sets of 15 on each side at an 8 RPE, and then 2 sets of 10s of the T's, A's, and Y's. Got that mixed up in the order, but all of our smaller muscle accessories, looking at developing those little muscles around our body to build that layer of protection in that body armor to make sure we're not going to hurt ourselves. That is today's video, training with friends. I hope you guys enjoyed. Do you have a training partner? Share this video with them. Are they looking at improving their bench press? Be sure to check out my website, absolutebeast.org, for that program. And as always, you guys at home, stay a beast.